Well, yeah, I remember
Like,
watching this interview. There was a documentary with Suge. I think it was America's Nightmare. The one that Antoine Fuqua did.
mm-hmm.
And I think it was this documentary when Suge was saying after Orlando got jumped, he was like, he told Pac, all right, you're a hot rapper, but now you're going to be hot in the streets. You now have a different level of notoriety because of this situation. You're now pushing the line in a whole different world.
Yeah.
And Pac was like, all right, not realizing what that meant.
Yeah. It's, by himself, he was a force. But with the crew he had, the Bloods behind him, he was an army.
Yeah.
So he kind of felt invincible. And, Orlando, that so funny is, I know why they were at the, what's that, the Exodus? The
MGM.
No. They were at the,
well, the fight happened at the MGM.
I thought it happened at the pyramid.
No, it was the MGM.
Are you sure?
Yeah, positive. Well, the actual fight where Orlando got jumped was at the MGM. I believe that the fight, the boxing match was at the MGM as well because they're leaving the fight.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then something happened at the pyramid because that's where we would all stay. We would get hotel rooms for like $50. They would hook us up with hotel. Everybody would stay at the Luxor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's not where they were staying.
Oh, okay.
It was, I don't know if maybe they were staying there, but the fight itself happened.
Pretty sure they were staying there, probably. Because we would they would hook us up with rooms because that's where we were going to stay for like $50. But yeah, I always thought it was Luxor. I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, but like I said, I've always heard about the story since 2007, and then a couple people had sort of, there's a few people that were going to do interviews about it before the confession tapes, but it was sort of, I was always concerned about putting something out that I couldn't really confirm. Like I didn't want to put someone, in an interview and it all turned out to be fake. So there was a few interviews I turned down, but then when the confession tape happened, it was like, oh, okay, this is actually Keefe and this is his voice and he's telling Greg Kading what happened. And then an LA rapper I know, who I'm not going to say his name, he knew Keefe and he linked us up.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we linked up, he was like, yeah, he's interested in doing an interview because he has a book out, a book that just got released. Right. And so the co-writer of the
too?
Yeah, right. That's the whole thing. People are like, oh, you went and got all this info. I'm like, no, I read the book and I literally followed the book chapter by chapter as I'm, asking these questions. So if you watch the interview, there's sometimes he goes, oh, well, I don't know about that. And I'm like, well, but the book says that you were there and you did this. You wrote a book. And he goes, all right, well, then read the book then. Like there's a lot of moments like that. Because it was like, yeah, he wrote a book. Now my thing is like, well, you confessed to it and you wrote a book. I'm going to do the interview, right? So that's
good journalism.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote a book saying, I killed Nicole Simpson. This is how it happened. I'm going to read that book.
Right. OJ actually wrote that book.
But no.
It's called If I Did It.
That's different.
A little different, yeah.
That's a lot different.
A little different, right? Well, OJ's already been found not guilty. See,
exactly.
With Tupac, it was still an open murder case.
Exactly.
Right. So he wrote the book, and I did the interview, and it went everywhere in the hip hop community, though. Like outside the hip hop community, people had no idea that this was even happening. And then Keefe did multiple interviews on multiple different platforms. He did another interview with me like earlier this year, but he had done all these other interviews at different platforms. And I think that he pretty much thought that it was a wrap. Like, he had already talked about it. No one was going to do nothing. We were actually supposed to do a third interview. He had reached out to me after the house got raided, along with his co-writer.
He wants to talk more?
He wanted to talk more. And I'm like,
That shit's
Okay. I mean,
retarded.
if you want to talk, all right. But I think what had happened was I gave him a deposit for an interview, and I found out he went to a couple other platforms and got deposits as well, and he just pretty much just kept it. And,
He was gaming. Oh yeah.
he was gaming everybody, and that's fine, man. Listen, we've made money off this interview, so I kind of figured that was going to happen anyways. But I'm like, all right, I'll risk this, a little bit of money, and we'll see what happens.